Live.
I can't hear you at all.
You can't hear me.
No.
For fuck's sake. Piece of shit. Alright, hold on. Okay, it didn't connect. Can you hear me now?
Try again.
Can you hear me now?
Nope.
I'm restarting my computer. Give me a moment.
Is your mic input right?
There is no mic. It's internal. Quit, you motherfucker. What's up, Dr. Wade? Welcome to breakfast time. Yo, Gay, get in here. Dr. Wade's watching. Come on.
Dr. Wade.
There he is.
I hope you're enjoying your sabbatical. Miss you seeing you on campus, though. I haven't seen you at all.
I know, right? Facebook just doesn't do it.
Actually, need to schedule a breakfast with Mark Davies.
Alrighty. Sorry, everybody. We are experiencing technical issues. The MacBook will not give off any audio. I don't know why. So I can't make the call and connect to him. Waiting to log in. What in the world is that big bowl of? This is 8 servings of cream of wheat, cold. I actually like things cold, so if you don't know what, I didn't know what cream of wheat was until like 3 weeks ago. It's hot cereal, but I made it last night, threw it in the fridge, and it solidifies. It's kind of more like a gel-ish. I know it's a lot, but I like eating big meals. All right, let's see if I can get this call working. My MacBook is not. Young can be doctored and it's tasty. I don't know what you mean. You can be doctored and yuck. Yeah. Come on, Google Hangouts. Can you hear me now? There we are.
I can hear you now.
Alright, let me turn you up a little bit.
What the hell happened with your mic?
I don't know. Okay. GoPro's in one angle. I've got the Facebook live stream going. I've got you on the Mac. So we've got everything set up. Chicken's in the oven. I like the hairdo, dude.
Alright.
And I've got...
I can't do with that anymore.
There you go. Got breakfast going on. I've got so much shit. Got my drink. Already got my caffeine in me. How you doing, Donna? Happy belated birthday. Welcome to breakfast time. Alrighty. So, what is David having for breakfast? Is he having breakfast on breakfast time?
Actually, no. I'm not.
That's okay. Sometimes I do, sometimes you don't. I've got this. I've been waiting for this. I woke up at... my alarms went off at like 6 in the morning. I was like, man, I'm hungry. I waited. So how you been, dude? How's your week going?
On Sunday, I did legs.
Okay.
And Wednesday, I had plans to do upper body. And my buddy calls me and he goes, hey, you want to go to St. Pete's? And I'm like, what is that? Where's that at? He's like, it's up the road a little bit from the high school. I said, is that going to be better than the gym? He's like, we're going boulder, rock, trekking, hiking along the Schuylkill River. I'm like, all right, I'm game.
Yeah, man, why not? Weather's getting nice. I mean, today, shit, my buddy Malachi's going on a hike, and I checked the weather. It's supposed to be 65 today. Like, would have been nice if it was 65 yesterday, but couple more weeks and it'll be 65 every day.
But anyway, we did that for like probably an hour and a half,
Mm-hmm.
and didn't think it was as good of exercise as I thought it was going to be. But it was. The next 2 days, my legs were just death.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man. So you did legs, and then you went for a hike, so then your legs are super sore. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, did you ever get back to hit your upper body?
No, I didn't. Not last week. I got between Thursday and Friday of schoolwork. It was nuts. And then yesterday, when I got all my schoolwork, I did management homework for 10 hours yesterday.
Lovely.
Yeah, it was absolutely terrible.
Management.
It's doubling up the next 2 weeks. It's fantastic. Because she fell behind.
That sucks.
Yeah, so I'm not looking forward to the next 2 weeks.
See, that's like the one thing I noticed, like, so here's an interesting, like, fact. Not fitness related, just, just collegiate related. When I went to Monaco for 2.5 years, it wasn't abnormal to fall behind in class, get ahead, or be somewhere in between, especially if you're in a class that had multiple sessions. So, like, when I was in lower level math classes where a teacher would teach, like, 8 sections of Math 100, which is college algebra, I mean, if you had, by luck of the draw, a ton of kids who just, maybe, or I shouldn't say kids, a ton of students who had prior experience in, algebra. Maybe they were returning to college after being off for so many years. I remember we just blitzed through the material. I mean, I'm straight out of high school, so it's like a lot of this stuff was like stuff I already knew. And then we had people who were like in their 30s and 40s who it's like, I haven't been in school for 10, 20 years, but you know what, like, I still remember it. And then unfortunately you have individuals who were like, whoa, I have no idea what's going on. So in my course, I remember we were so far ahead, we were taking our test early, and I had a buddy in the other section, and he's like, dude, we've only covered this concept. Subsequently, though, when I had a class, like when I took Calc 2 was 4 days a week there, which was very frequent at Monaco, because for three credit classes, you only were there 3 times a week. But for Calc 2, we had to be there for 4 days a week, and we still struggled to keep up. I mean, it was we did fall behind, and my professor was on it. Bucknell, though, never fall behind. We also never closed for inclement weather or anything of that nature. So I have yet to have a canceled class or anything of that nature the year I've been here. That's another thing. Spring semester community college, always getting class cancellations, inclement weather, you name it, fall behind. It's very normal. It's like, I get a rest and a breather at Bucknell. Nope.
That's the hysterical part, is all the cancellations we had were on a Tuesday or Thursday. And this class is a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class.
Oh, man. So then I guess it's the rate at which he presents the material is bad. Okay.
Either way I'm looking at it, at this point, I'm likely not going to hit my goal in 5.5 weeks by graduation. It's just not feasible. So, if I can at least maintain where I'm at until I can graduate and have the time to go 4 or 5 times a week, so that I can actually, yes?
What are you up to today?
Morning talk with Chuck.
Oh, morning talk with Chuck.
Good morning, Mr. Swinda.
What's happening?
Nothing much.
Finish this puzzle or what? I'd like to
Yeah.
get the frame made, get it out from under the bed and get it glued up today. Put the
Okay.
leaf in the table
Okay.
so I can get the frame made. Get my bench cleared for the next project.
You're not going to be able to make the frame until 8 o'clock tonight. It takes 2 days to cure. It takes 12
It's
hours.
gonna take more than tonight to make the frame, Chucklehead.
Whatever.
I need the puzzle done so I can.
So, David's having a conversation with his father, discussing the plans that they're doing for today. So we're going to give him a moment.
We're good. We're good. Keep going.
All right. I was just explaining to the audience what was going on.
It's all
So
good.
I didn't review last week's video. I know there was this big topic that was we're going to hit this topic today. But what I do remember from last week, because last week's a blur at this point.
It was injuries.
Oh, injuries. Okay.
Yeah.
that's actually really relevant because I'm going through 2 injuries right now.
Your hip and what else?
Just my back. My back, they're both chronic injuries, so like, long term, things that just won't go away. But so let's just talk about you first. Let's talk about how your week's going. Then we'll talk about how I kind of, how I'm doing, and then we'll move on to the whole injury because that'll be a natural segue. So I think last week we were talking about your weight loss plateau. We talked a little bit about, your energy problems and how they're related to your diet. So then we made recommendations and changes on your diet so that you should be eating a sufficient amount of energy. And we did notice some weight loss, which is always nice. Hey, how you doing? But just responding to Facebook live stream. I've got all these cameras, so I don't know where to look at. But nonetheless, we talked about that, and then we made some general recommendations where I highly recommended you to go to the gym at least. I think we agreed 3 times a week, and then I want you to do cardio 3 to 4 times a week. Something of that nature, and I highly emphasized that you should be doing weights on one day, cardio on the other, and split it up, and that maybe we'll work out and just kind of adjust where your training is. Now, it sounds like you weren't able to maintain that, correct?
Yeah, I wanted to go so bad yesterday, I just couldn't do it.
Was that because of time in life?
Yeah, it just was not going to happen. I got done homework around 7.
Thank you for sharing my video. Got homework done when? When did you get your homework done?
Like 7:53, and I was just so mentally drained, nothing else was going to happen.
I mean, I get it, dude. I mean, when I was full-time Monaco Wawa, I mean, there was, that 2-year period where I couldn't train physically because of my injuries. But when I got better, I mean, the training came back. And it's one of those things where, I've always had the mentality that, like, no matter how tired or how drained I am, I have a goal and I make it to the gym. And they weren't my best workouts, but I still made an effort to try. And it's just one of those things, trying to find the right balance where you can allocate time and, really kind of dissect things. Fortunately for me at Bucknell, everything's within a 5-minute bike ride. So like I can do 10, 12 hours a day of schoolwork and then feel absolutely mentally wiped. Like that was me yesterday. I got out of the library at 10:15, and I was on my bike and I'm riding past the gym and I just I don't want to go. I don't want to go. And I ended up, I think literally, Lamb of God came on, and I'm sitting there listening to, I think the song, it wasn't Redneck, it was one of their other big songs. I'm just sitting there really getting into it, and I was probably 5 minutes out from, going home, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go to the gym. I'm getting this, real hype, walk in there. I ended up doing a bunch of chest work, and I set a PR, So I'm now doing 75-pound dumbbells, so I'm within 10 pounds of my own body weight, which is interesting because I've never been able to bench my own body weight. So I've done more weight in the past, but I was also heavier too. So that's exciting. But, I mean, it's one of those things. I walked into the gym, I was dead tired, exhausted. I spent the entire day studying data structures and algorithms, and my brain was just not there. Yeah. Lamb of God, the radio station I play will play a lot of, Nordic metal, and then it'll play, Lamb of God, and there's certainly a lot of Five Finger. But, yeah, I was blasting that shit, went to the gym, had a good workout. And, it's just all about pushing yourself. But I understand, if, you're at a community college and there's the whole time traveling and running around in your car and sitting in traffic, and I don't know, man, it's just one of those things where you kind of have to audit your life and make it happen. But, so, I guess it wouldn't surprise me. If you weren't able to make it to the gym, you weren't able to create that energy difference, and your weight probably hasn't changed, right?
Yeah.
Are you still, exactly 205?
206. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So...
But I think I'm having the water weight issue we talked about last week. Because Thursday, I weighed in at 203, and I was like, oh, I went down. But now I'm 3 pounds up again, and I have no idea why.
Well, I mean, your weight's going to have natural fluctuations, and I've noticed that, it happens. So I'll give you a great example, and this will probably be a natural segue into my experiences this week. So, shameless self-promotion. If you guys haven't noticed, I've been vlogging my entire experience with my whole mini cut. So right now I'm trying to lose just a couple pounds, and I gave myself a month-long time frame to get the goal done. I wanted to go from 169 to 160, and that's just to lose the weight that I had accumulated through my bulk and through spring break, where I went complete fat ass and just ate everything when I was at home. And I noticed it. Like, I started, my abs were disappearing. I wasn't seeing the vascularity. I wasn't seeing the definition. I just felt bloated. My clothes are also starting to get a little tight. So I'm like, man, I don't feel good anymore. I don't think I looked too good. And I'm just going to, trim the fat off the edges and then get right back into it. I want to get big. I want to get strong, right? That's my biggest thing. Like, honestly, I want to learn how to do a backflip. As crazy as that sounds, like there's things.
I'm not to it either.
There's things that I I realized it's like I wasn't able to do when I was so heavy. That it's completely feasible to do. But yeah, so I've been vlogging that experience and uploading the videos every single day. So all of week 1 is up right now. You guys can actually go watch me. Now I admit, I vlog it on my camera with my phone, and it's not that great quality. When I was recording it with my phone, it looked good, and then when I went and played it back, the frame rate's utter shit. So I do apologize for the frame rates. It's literally like 15 to 20 FPS.
So
I've been using my GoPro all week now. I dug it out, I found where it was, and GoPro takes 60 FPS videos, and the videos are going to be much nicer for week 2. So, but yeah, you guys can go back, review week 1 and what I've been doing. But for this past week, I ended up weighing myself every day, and my weight was pretty consistent, right? And my goal weight's 160, and yesterday I weighed in 160.2, so I thought maybe today it's going to happen. And then I weighed in this morning at 161 on the dot.
Yeah.
But you know what? It happens. You will have weight fluctuations, and that depends on, how much did you sweat the day before? How much water were you drinking? Did you use the bathroom, when you weighed before or after you weighed yourself? Those are all variables. How much food did you eat? When did you eat last night? Did you have a big keeping something of, right before dinner that's going to be weighing you down? You can't, control all those things. So your weight will go throughout the week. Now, I tend to eat consistently at the same time, mainly the same things, and I do consistently the same things every day, whether it be water, intake, training, food, you name it. So, for me, I'm probably in an edge case, because my weight, you could even follow me on MyFitnessPal. You can see my weight's kind of it's not linear, but it's within plus or minus of, 0.3 of a pound. For me to have an 0.8 of a pound, it's almost 1 pound difference. I don't fucking know. It could be water. Here's one thing. Because of my hips, I haven't done cardio for 3 days. So I haven't had a real good sweat. For all I know, it's water weight. But at the same time, I'm not worried about it. These are these things. So long as you're making sufficient progress throughout the week and you're hitting your goals, if you have a bad weigh-in, you're going to have, you can have a bad weigh-in. That's why, and this is something new to me, weigh yourself every day. Try to be consistent. Try to keep yourself accountable. And then just look at the rolling average. So, my rolling average is 161.5 pounds, right? If I averaged out my data for the week, but I weighed in 161 this morning. So, there's 2 ways I can interpret the data. The data says, by the rolling average, that here's my probabilistic real weight, and then my other number, the number that I weighed in this morning, it's just a good weigh-in day, even though it's worse than the day before. So I could have had a streak of really good, weigh-ins by chance. But in reality, I'm probably still above that 161 pound mark. But that's okay. That means I have 2 weeks to lose 1.5 pounds. That's feasible, considering I started at 169 2 weeks ago. So, that's what I got to say about that. What are we going to do about you?
I don't know. I'm hoping maybe this week I can get 3 times in. It's really going to depend on how much homework I get done between Thursday and Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I also had a test due yesterday online, so that took a good 2-3 hours out of my day as well. Which really, you know, that 2 or 3 hours could have been in the afternoon between like 1 and 4, where I would go to the gym for an hour, hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I'm hoping I can still do Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday. So, I'm gonna start my homework soon here once we finish. Hopefully I can get done around 1 or 2 and then go to the gym, do upper body. Because I figured if I do 3 days a week, no matter what, I'm going to have somewhere between 3 and 6 days of healing time between days
Yeah.
for whatever body group I do, which is plenty. So, I'm hoping I can do that.
That's a lot of rest, you know? That's more than enough rest. So,
Exactly.
well, how about your cardiovascular training? How often are you doing that?
When I go to the gym.
Okay. So
I
you-
normally start with cardio now so that I feel a little bit more warmed up. Because if I do everything first, sometimes it just doesn't happen. So that's how it used to be. But probably since I started really focusing on weight loss back in January, I've always done cardio first before I do all my weightlifting.
I was the same way. And yeah, I think I explained this in another live stream. You know,
Yeah, we did.
I maybe even told you this when we trained together. What I found was I would never have the motivation to do cardio after my weightlifting, because weightlifting was what I looked forward to. So what I would do, in essence, was just the cardio first, you know, bang it out, you know, viciously, and then at the end of it, you know, lifting weights was the reward, in essence. Now, it's the other way around, because I know that, okay, if my goal is to maintain strength and size and increase both, then doing cardiovascular training before my strength training is not the best idea. I want all of my glycogen reserves to be at 100% capacity when I go lift the weights, such that I can expend the most amount of energy and put the most amount of strain on my muscles so I can get the maximum result. If I'm tired because of cardio before, or I'm, you know, slightly depleted because of that, you know, theoretically I'm not going to have as good of a workout. Now, cardio works as creating an energy depletion, right? And that's the whole point. You know, other than, you know, the health implications, we do cardio to create that energy deficit. So to do cardio after your weight training is completely fine, because then you're already depleted, you know, glycogen-wise. You're going to further deplete yourself, and you're going to start, you know, creating your overall daily caloric deficit through cardio, and it's just better to do it after your training. But if that works for you, I'm going to not sit here and be a stickler about it. You know, I would only be a stickler about it if your goal was to put on size, right? But that's not the goal right now. The goal is to maintain size, strength, lose body fat. So if that works better for you, that works better for you. I don't really like these guys in the fitness industry that's like, you must do it this way, you must do it that way. If you're not doing it, this way, you're doing it wrong. And don't get me wrong, there are some things that, like, if you're doing it incorrectly, yeah, there's just no way of getting around it. Like, if you're lifting, if you're doing a bicep curl, you're just, like, you know, sitting here doing, you know, some, like, dainty kind of, like, stupid motion, or, like, you eat nothing but fat and broccoli, and you're expecting, you know, results, then of course, you know, you're doing it wrong. But when it comes to things like that, things that are, like, debatable, like, no, do what works for you, and you will get the results, and it's much easier. We're going for a lifestyle here. We're not going for, like, oh, I gotta do this, you know, blah, 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 you know, 100%, you know, to the T. So, now, here's, so I wanted to ask you, you know, the whole going to, how do you say, so going to the gym's a problem, I understand, with the whole gym, with gym, work, and school. What about your diet? How are your meals going? Are you very consistent with that still?
Meals are still fine. You know, I have like one cheat meal a week.
That's fine.
Aside from that, it's fine. You know, dinners, whatever my mom makes. Dinner, pretty much all meals have not really changed much at all. I still do an apple and cereal in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do turkey and cheese, pretzels, and banana for lunch. And then dinner's whatever my mom makes, pork chops. Not a fan of pork chops, unfortunately, but chicken, brats, hot dogs, whatever.
And
I'll
how
just
do you
find portion control at dinner time, that's all.
Okay. And how do you feel during that? Do you still feel like you're good, like you have energy, and you're sane, or are you still feeling like you're like
I still have all that. I'm just still hungry afterwards.
You're hungry.
I am, yes.
That's surprising. You have an appetite now?
Since I've gotten back on the wagon, so to speak, yes.
That makes sense. You eat more food, you get more hungry. The world goes round.
Indeed. So, I avoid all the bad food temptations at work,
Good. Well, as far as, recommendations on the week to week, they don't change, unfortunately. My last week recommendations still stand. I don't think it's necessary for you to decrease your caloric intake right now. I would like to see you to go to the gym more often, but I understand, if time is an issue, then you may need to get more creative, like maybe, I don't know, wake up and a half an hour early and do something like, like go for a jog around your house. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm hoping once the weather starts getting a little bit more normalized here, that I can actually do something like that. Or even if I take a jog after work or something like that,
That's honestly what I would do. One of my biggest... Here's a story for you guys. I can't quite remember what the circumstances were, but I think there was a time in my life where I was doing really bad on money. I think I had to have lost a job or something like that, and I couldn't pay for my gym membership anymore. I wasn't injured. I wasn't in a position where I couldn't physically do it. I just did not have the financial resources to continue eating, buying healthy food, and purchasing, all the things I needed. So, I couldn't buy healthy food. I'm repeating myself. I'm tired. What I'm trying to say is I couldn't live the lifestyle I wanted to live anymore. I was running out of money, and nobody was interested in hiring me. I was certainly too young to have a license at the time, so that was kind of out of the question. My mom personally worked 2 or 3 jobs, so she couldn't take me anywhere. So I was really on my own. And I was like, shit, I can't go to the gym. I can't, buy my healthy food. And you know what happened? I had this, idea that I was going to, go to, the local playground and do some calisthenics and shit. And I ended up doing shit. And I ended up eating crappy food. And as a result, I suffered for it. I put on weight. And it was depressing. But I know right now, if I was in a situation where I was so time constrained that I couldn't even get to the gym or something like that, I would just incorporate at least something, right? Anything. Any form of physical daily activity. And cool thing about cardio is you can do it anywhere. And that would be my recommendation. If you don't have time to go to the gym, make use of your environment, whether it be, dude, I'll tell you what, man, if you did 30 minutes of jumping jacks, you're gonna get pretty fucking tired. You can do them right in your room, so I would at least try to do something, because my recommendations still stand.
Not much floor right now, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
So, but okay, you got any questions or comments on that, or?
No, I just really need to make time for myself.
Yeah, man. I mean, audit your life. See where you can pick time out and make it happen.
Yeah. It's gonna be a lot more grinding, but I'll figure it out. I generally do.
That's good, dude. That's good. Because, you still want to stick on your goal. Alright. So the topic of today that we agreed upon...
After 30 minutes.
After 30 minutes. Well, we still have to, touch base with each other. Is injuries.
Yeah.
And you are talking to the local expert.
Arm.
Yeah,
shoulder,
you're right. You gotta want it bad enough. You're talking to the expert of getting hurt in every shape and way. So, second story time, completely irrelevant. I have been hit by a car twice in my life. And David, I know you're gonna start laughing.
No, because I know both stories.
He knows exactly. Because he was there when it fucking happened. I've been hit by a fucking car twice in my life.
Oh, man.
Both times
So good.
I got hit by a car. They were by a black Chevy Suburban. It was not the same vehicle because I could tell that one, was a much older Suburban. The other one was much newer, more plastic. There's more cushion on the impact. I remember that. No, I'm just kidding. Still, they both fucking hurt. First time that it happened, I want to say, I was probably just after I turned 18. And it was my senior year of high school, right in the beginning of senior year. I was on my way to work on a Saturday morning, right? It was very early. I was the only one. Fool me twice, shame on you. I don't know what you mean by that. I was in the lane of traffic. I had a reflector vest on. I had a book bag on. I was wearing full black Wawa uniform on my way to work, probably 7 o'clock in the morning. So plenty of visibility. The roads weren't wet. I mean, we're talking, probably mid-fall, just to give some context. Nobody's around on the road. I'm pedaling, and I just hear this car coming, and I just, I'm on the shoulder. Those cars go around me, and instead he hits me, right? And my bag gets caught in the car, and he drags me for probably a quarter of a second before my bag tore. And I was then pushed off the side of the vehicle and subsequently into a ditch. I just kind of tumbled and I just laid there. So I'm sitting in this ditch that's, all muddied and nasty. And I remember just leaning up and looking, and I see this Suburban, right? And I kind of lean over, just driving away. And I wasn't able to kind of I wasn't able to make out his license plate. I just remember him driving away, my bike fucking flopping around. I remember I leaned back over and I was like, man, I just fucked up. I just laid there and I thought about it. I was like, I just got fucking nailed. Pick up my phone. I kid you not. I call my work. I just got hit by a car. I can't make it in. They told me I was full of shit. Who does that? So I walked 2 miles, right?
Dude, you're making your suck though at the time.
But you know me. You know the mentality I had at the time. Like, if I got hit by a car today and my employer told me to fuck off, I would have told him to fuck off. But
Yeah, you would.
But I really needed this job because I had no money, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna get in so much trouble. So I walked to work, covered in blood and mud, and I walked out to this, the door, and I called my manager at the time. I'm like, you need to come outside real quick. She's like, are you here? You're a half an hour late. I was like, yeah, I'm late. Come outside right now. She comes outside. She takes one look at me. She's like, oh my god. And I looked at her, and I was like, I'm going home. And I walked the 3 miles back home.
I wish you would have called me. I would have driven you home.
Dude, you were 14 at the time. You couldn't have driven me home.
Which means I was 17 because you were only 1 year
Yeah,
ahead.
17. But you still didn't have your car.
Yeah, I did. I had my car and my license the day after I turned 17.
Did you?
Yeah. I
Shit.
can tell you the exact date I got my license and the exact date I got my truck.
I missed that truck.
No, the Danger Ranger was a joke, okay?
So why do I tell people those first car hit? Because, clearly I got hit by a car and I was still able to walk 5 fucking miles, right, in the span of 2 hours. I mean, I was sore, I had road rash, but otherwise, I was okay, right? No, I wasn't 14, I was 18. Probably, so right after I graduated high school, so this, not the same year, but the same school year or whatever, still 18. Very similar story. It's a Saturday, but it's at high noon. I just get done work, and I'm riding my bike out from work, and I just remember there's this intersection in Douglasville, the town that I live in, right across the street from the post office.
Oh God.
I'm passing through the intersection. Again, I'm in the lane of traffic. And again, another fucking Chevy Suburban hits me full on. This time, though, he hits the rear of my bicycle, crushes it, and I go tumbling over the windshield, over on top of the bike, and I get slammed into the fucking curb. While I got hit, my legs got jolted forward, and my front sprocket went into the back of my calf muscle and dug in, and my chain wrapped around my leg. So my bike was wired and mingled on my legs, and I couldn't get them free while flying over this vehicle and being left on the road. So when I came down, I wasn't wearing a helmet, and I smacked my head against the pavement, and I was out for a quarter of a second. And when I woke up, I just kind of looked around, and this has happened to me before. So I was like, oh shit, I need to get out of the road. And there's cars driving past me. So I start pulling myself to the curb, and I saw that the side of the road had a lip into it, and I just was like, I couldn't move my legs, I was a little delirious, and by the time I was able to grab the end of the road, I just pulled myself off the road. I just laid there, and I was able to wrestle my legs out. And at this point, I'm bleeding pretty bad. I get up, pants are shredded, bike's fucked, and I'm just kind of like, I'm like, holy shit, I just got hit again. But I'm standing, I was like, feeling myself, I'm like, oh, like, my head kind of hurt. I'm like, I'm all right. The only person to stop was a paralyzed gentleman, believe it or not. And I knew he was paralyzed because he had his wheelchair in the back of his truck, and he told me he couldn't get out to help me. But he wanted to make sure I was okay. Fucking Douglasville, man. Nobody stopped for me. Hit and run, middle of the day. So, second hit and run, right? I go home that day, and I did not feel good. So between that point and that point, right, is when things start to get bad. So now I need to tell you what happened in between. My GoPro just turned off. Lovely.
Battery dead?
I don't know. Shit. I'm not recording this. Well, I'll have to pull the Facebook Live video then. That's fine. So we have these two life events where I get hit by a car. And by the way, my chicken timer's going to go off pretty soon. So I get nailed, and I'm like, oh my god. Now, when I got hit the first time, I started having some problems. I remember my, back issues started happening then. And that's what kind of gave me a layoff in the gym initially. The second time I got hit, basically solidified that injury. So it was bad to begin with, and it got better. And getting hit by a car just made it so much fucking worse. So I have this issue with my spine, where I have severe inflammation in my scapular region, so the area in and around your shoulder blade. I have 3 vertebrae in my back that swell up, and when they do, the inflammation will then spread to the muscular region all around my shoulder, and it inhibits my motion and my strength because of the inflammation. And this is reoccurring. I will have this for the rest of my life. I've had injections, medications, physical therapy.
Oh man, you did the injections? Oh.
I had to, man. I had to get the injections into my spine to get rid of that inflammation initially. But I was able to work through it. It took 2 years, right? Just getting, absolutely fucking destroyed, by these cars. But I'm at the point where I'm at the best shape of my life, the strongest I've ever been, and I just have to, I've learned to make sure everything, is on point when it comes to my lifting, right? So spinal injuries right there. What else do I have wrong with me? I tore my rotator cuff in the same arm because of that. Because of the accident. I didn't have a surgery for it. I rehabbed it, and my shoulder's fine. Every now and then it gives me some trouble on shoulder day or chest day, but again, it's one of those things where I just learned to work around it. Subsequently, I also have a curve in my spine and a depression in my hip. Doctor doesn't think it's because of me getting hit by a car. He thinks it's genetic. So now I've got 2 problems with my spine, a problem with my hip, a problem with my shoulder, and most recently, I think I've been complaining about this in my my vlogs, and I mentioned it in my live stream at least once. The muscles that wrap around your hips are always sore and tight. I think it may be an overused injury. I don't know. So I have all of these injuries, right? And yet I'm still able to do the things that I'm doing, lifting heavy. Like David knows, I have a really strong back. For somebody who's been hit by a car twice and has, all these deformities, don't I have a strong back?
It's almost amazing that you're not dead or falling apart yet.
Yeah, right? And nonetheless, I was able to cut my weight in half. So the whole point of this, the moral of the story, is that for every injury I've obtained in my life, I was able to figure out a way to work around it. And that's what a lot of people need to kind of understand. But the most important thing to do is that when you have an injury, fucking get it fixed. That's the first thing you need to do. The second thing you need to do is not to give up on the rest of your body. When I hurt my back, I still could have done cardio. I just stopped going to the gym. I was like, man, I'm broken. I'm just going to stop. No, that was a mistake.
I'm broken. I just remember you telling us that in tech class, and we were all like, yeah, okay.
I came in the next fucking day with all the scars and the stitches and shit. Nobody believed me. I'm like, you want to look at my legs? You want to see this fucking welt on my head? Everybody's like, you didn't get hit by a car. You're full of shit. Really? Did I not have... It was the... You could see the chain, the sprocket pattern
clear
in my fucking calf muscle.
It was like...
You actually can't see it anymore, believe it or not.
That's good.
It looked gnarly. When I would wear shorts, people were like, what the fuck? Did a shark bite you or something? But yeah, that's the whole point. And, those are humongous life setbacks. Getting, severely injured like that. But there's always a way to work around it. Trust me. And I understand, if you have an injury that's, so severe that, you can't walk or, you're just in absolute agony, get it fixed. Work on that first. But once you get better, you need to get back into it. The next thing to do is that if you do have a chronic injury, right? Because, if you break your arm and then, you still go do dumbbell curls, no, dude, no. But if you break your arm, you get it cast and set, and your bone's fine, right? You're not going to run a risk of breaking your arm again unless, you do something to cause that. But with me, with my chronic, injuries, long-lasting, it does take a lot of trial and error to figure out what movements and motions do and do not hurt you or, incite that pain. That's why I stay away from squats. Me and squats do not get along. Do I do them occasionally? Sometimes. But given the history I just explained to you guys, I think we can agree that squats is maybe not the best idea, especially heavy squats. But other things like leg press, when my legs aren't or my hips aren't killing me, totally okay. So I've learned to adjust my training accordingly to my injuries, and that's what. Give me one moment to yank the chicken out.
Yeah, you're good.
So, that's my history of getting hurt. Do you have anything to include, David? Do you have any things you want to kind of touch base on and include with those ideas?
Don't keep going to the gym if your injury is still there. And if the pain is getting worse, stop. Suck it up and stop. Don't push yourself to a point where you might injure yourself permanently or for a much longer period of time.
Yeah, prolonging an injury is not worth it. If we think about it, that's what I'm doing with my hips right now. I established a goal where I want to do 1 month cutting, and I want to lose 8 pounds in a month. And I assigned myself this extremely aggressive weight training program. And the irony is that I've lost a ton of weight, more so than I originally had prescribed to me. So right now, it would have made complete sense if I was 164 pounds. I would have been totally happy with that right now. But I'm 161, so I'm 2 pounds ahead of the game. And I haven't even done half of the things I originally prescribed myself just out of injury. So, right in the beginning, my hips are bothering me. Okay, so I'm going to stop doing the high-intensity interval training that I would normally do on the mat. I'm just going to do the incline treadmill. But then that started bothering me. So then I'm like, all right, I'm just going to drop cardio for a little bit. And now I'm doing fine. So, give it a couple more days, and I'm going to slowly walk back into it. If it's still an issue, then I need to give myself more time. I could push myself to do more training, but at what point, do my goals overweigh my
health?
Yeah, my health. Because because the thing is, after I'm done cutting, my next goal is bulking, and then I can't make my legs bigger and stronger if my hips aren't there, right? It's really hard to walk around with 100-pound dumbbells and heavy weights when your hip flexor muscles are just falling apart. So, it's by forcing yourself to train, you're taking 1 step forward and 2 steps back. Sometimes you got to take 1 step back to take 2 steps forward, and that's what giving yourself an injury, giving yourself time to recover from an injury does. I think a lot of guys who are really stubborn and butt-headed kind of need to hear that every now and then, because I think you've got two polar opposites. You've got somebody who gets hurt, quits. That was me a couple years ago,
Yep.
right? Or you got somebody who gets hurt, says fuck it, and then they really fuck themselves up, and then they don't have any choice to stop because they literally cannot physically do it anymore. Now you're really fucked. You should have just quit to begin with. But that's bad too. You gotta find that happy medium. You gotta give yourself enough time to rest and recover, and then get back to it. I'm not even done this food. Fuck yeah, dude. So, that's all I really got to say about injuries. It's a pretty straightforward topic, and I got a great story for it. But is there anything? I know.
I got hit by a car. No, you didn't. Shut up.
No, I tell that story. A lot of people, and they're like, "You're full of shit, man." I'm like, shut the fuck up. No, you did not.
Yeah. Good times. Good times.
Good times.
Oh, the tech school days.
Mr. Nappy, you did not get hit by a car. Yes, I did.
I went there last week. I forgot to tell you about that.
Is this something you want to share with the world?
Huh?
Is this something you want to share with the world?
He's moving. They're moving the room. The whole room.
You told me that.
Did I?
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't remember.
They're moving it to the old math class because they're expanding.
Yeah, okay. I did tell you that. Yeah.
How the hell is he going to teach all those level ones?
The theory room's going to be 16 people now because the program keeps growing.
I mean, that's a good thing.
I mean, they graduate with half of the computer technology degree done at RAC. They could essentially do it in 1 year.
Good for them.
And then I told him at the meeting that, hey, I know how to get out of another class. And he looked at me, he's like, yeah, I'm sure RAC wants wants us to get another free degree, so to speak. Or free class, I should say.
And what's the class?
It's the help desk class, the one I tested out of.
Well, I mean, getting out of it, you know?
I got five and a half weeks roughly, man.
Same. Alright, man. I think that pretty much concludes it as far as the live stream goes. Is there anything else you want to touch upon before we go? Any goals?
Shall we make our topic for next week?
What's our topic for next week? We've talked about work-life balance when it comes to the gym. We've talked about
Nutrition.
nutrition.
Talk a lot about nutrition.
A lot of nutrition. But that's an important topic. We got, you know, that's something that requires a lot of talk. We could talk about alternative diets. We could talk about smashing through weight loss plateaus. We could talk about, you know, recipes. We could talk about how I cook and prepare meals in college, which is a bit of a unique setting to do that in. We could talk about training philosophy. Yeah, of course, Maija. We could talk about training philosophy. So, you know, what I believe to be true on training, what I find is, you know, truth and fiction in the fitness industry, how I think, what I think about, you know, a lot of these mainstream fitness guys, which I actually plan on doing an entire YouTube series on. So we can kind of like introduce that. We could ramble for 45 minutes and see where it goes.
Yeah, right.
Just want to start vlogging, but it's not going to be health-based, really. Hey, vlog whatever you want. You know, it's fun. I like sharing knowledge and helping people out any way I can. You know, I get a couple people watching these videos on a weekly basis. They're always commenting and, you know, interacting. You know, I've got Swenda here who I've been helping out, you know, giving ideas and, you know, basically trying to steer him in the right direction. And, you know, subsequently he's lost weight. I've had people snap me their progress, you know, saying that I'm an inspiration, and, you know, since they started watching my content or, you know, reviewing the things I've been saying, you know, they started implementing it, and to nobody's surprise, the things I say works, because I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm just reiterating what I know to be true, what everybody else knows to be true. And most recently, I started vlogging the whole process by which you lose weight, to kind of show people, not just by, you know, being a YouTube vlogger, but just documenting the experience. Okay, today I did this, today I did that. You know, it's a little dry and it's a little raw, but it's, you know, the damn truth. It's right to the point. You know, here's what I did today. Here's the problem I had today. Here's the challenge I had today. Showing you the day-to-day grind. And we all know what the results are, because, you know, I report them in every video, and then, you know, at the end of the week, it's like, okay, you know, I lost this, you know, like last week was 4.5 pounds, this week was 2 pounds, you know, or something like 2 or 3 pounds, I forget, like, every single week. And then during that time, I've had cheat days, binge meals, I've gotten sick twice, I am dealing with 2 injuries, and I'm a college student, and I've got this, and I got that, and it's a way for me to show that, you know, yeah, you can have a lot of fucking shit going on and still be able to get your progress done. You know, you just gotta figure it out a way. You gotta, you know, be creative and be, you know, in on it. So, but yeah, so we could do that. I mean, we could. There's a lot of things we can talk about, but I think why don't we try to make it a game day decision, right?
All right.
Sounds good.
I'll do that. Yeah, I gotta go do my programming homework anyway. So.
Yeah, I gotta put away my food, review my paper, get that going. Maybe find a spot in the library that's open. We'll see. Nonetheless, man, it's been really good talking to you, and I just wanted to say before you go, I really appreciate you taking the time, you know, because everybody's so limited on time, every single week to just get on the live stream, talk to me, you know. Because when I started this, like, I wanted this to be like a big, you know, kind of like, where like I had a couple people talking, but I think this, you know, this whole dynamic, this whole one-on-one, and then sharing that with the world, you know, again, this comes back to this whole vlogging idea I had. You know what we're doing? We're just documenting the process in which this gets done, and then showing people the interpersonal reactions that, you know, work, right?
Made me almost wonder if I should start doing that.
Why not? Documentation is key. Show people how it's done so then they can take the tools and go use them themselves independently, or, you know, if they get really good at it, maybe start doing it on their own. Why not? All the tools are there for you. So I just wanted to say thanks, and I really appreciate it, man. I really do.
It's not like I get to see you that often anymore.
I know, right?
Hopefully over the summer we can see each other a lot more, even with working.
Hell yeah. That'll be a goal.
Luckily, I'm done after this year. Won't see school again. Maybe. We'll see.
We'll see. Hey, school's not a bad thing. Just remember that. You can always go work for a couple of years and come back to it.
That's true. But
Alrighty, man. It's 10 o'clock. I'm going to let you go. We all have work to get done. Thanks for coming in, and I'll see you next week, dude.
later, bro.
Alrighty, guys. That is it. I've got to get going. I will see you guys later.